right, ready.
All right. It's a special Super Bowl edition of Playoff Ready. All right. So in case you didn't know by now, Philadelphia Eagles have defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. It's we know that for those who are paying attention to the game, that it's more like 40 to 0, but the official score is 40-22. So on the Kansas City side, Patrick Mahomes completed 21 of 32 passes for 257, and I don't have the official breakdown in front of me right now, but of that 257 and of those three touchdowns, it was all in garbage time. So when the game was already decided and the backups were in for the Eagles, Mahomes ran for another 25 on the ground. Um, he also threw two critical interceptions in the first half. One of them included a pick six to a rookie. So it was a really bad game, and it was worse than the final stats line. But that pretty much summed up his performance. Uneven. I think he was disrupted by the Eagles D line the whole game, but I'll leave that for after. Worthy, Xavier Worthy on the reception side, he had 8 catches for 157, 2 TDs, but again, this was all in garbage time. D Hop had 2 catches for 18 yards and a touchdown, and Kelsey was held at bay. He only had 4 catches for 39 yards. So those are the call outs for the on the Eagles side, on the Chiefs side, and on the Eagles side, Hurts had 17 completions out of 22 attempts, 221 yards, two passing touchdowns, and I think like how Mahomes' stats tells a better story than it really is. I think Hurts' stats doesn't tell as good of a story as it was. He played excellently. He also added another 72 yards on the ground off 11 carries and another touchdown. So by far well deserving of the Super Bowl MVP. I think Shaquan had 25 rushes for 57. The Chiefs D line had him in intact most of the game, but he made his contributions felt when needed. On the receiving side, Devontae Smith, 4 touchdowns for 69 yards and a touchdown, and AJ Brown, three catches, sorry, for 43 yards and a touchdown. And then on the defensive side, of course, we said Cooper DeJean. Yes, a white defensive backfield player had the pick six of Patrick Mahomes, and he played excellently as a rookie. Josh Sweat had 2.5 sacks. Um, and the Eagles D line dominated the entire game. So, um, what are your thoughts on the game? How I know we talked about the stats, but you watching the game from start to finish, how did you feel about the game?
I'm kind of shocked. Yeah, I'm still kind of processing the game. I think I had the Eagles winning, but not the way they won. It wasn't the storyline I thought it would have been. I thought Barkley would have had like a bigger game. I thought him. So overall, I thought the Eagles was like were the better team. But from the standpoint of Barkley, I thought he would have been the difference maker because he was the offensive player of the year. Kind of controversial, but um, I wasn't sure about the offensive player of the year, but we won't get into that. But I thought from this Eagles team 2 years back, I thought he was the difference maker. I didn't know the D line was this good. Like I'm shocked there. Offensively, I'm kind of shocked. I didn't think Jalen Hurts would play this well. AJ Brown, I thought he would have been a difference maker. So I was okay with that, but I thought Barkley would have made a bit of a difference. I was so surprised, like the first half when they were up 20 24 24 all right? And then I was like, okay, this is good because Barkley hasn't even started running. So I'm like, oh, they're gonna run him for the next 2 quarters. He's gonna get like 2 touchdowns, so that's 14 more points. I was calculating what the
Yeah,
difference
that's
would
why I was
make.
telling you the Chiefs defense had him bottled up the whole game. Like he never got to break one. Yeah,
Exactly. But I
yeah.
thought I guess they saw him as a defense the difference maker. I think they didn't think Hurts could beat them, right? Because I think that was the difference. Because I don't think they thought Hurts could beat them. I don't think they thought AJ Brown could beat them, right? I didn't even think Kelsey. I thought Kelsey would have showed up better, but he wasn't even in this game. Like it's shocking to me. Mahomes' stats are misleading at best. He wasn't in this game for like. I would say probably 45 minutes. He wasn't really in this game, to be honest. I'm surprised he put up these numbers though. Because at one point it didn't even look like they could even run for like a yard, even a minute. They weren't even on the offense. The offense was even on the field for like a minute some of the games. As soon as they got on, it was like a sack, a fumble, an interception. It was like I don't even know how they even got back. Well, they didn't even get back in the game, but I'm surprised they even put up this number. Like I don't think the score really reflects the type of game that happened today. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like when you messaged me, uh I thought that yeah the Eagles the Chiefs defense was doing a good job on Barkley. I think maybe they were focused on stopping the run. And I think you're that's probably what Spags decided to do. He probably said, "Look, we'll let Hurts beat them like last time." And last time he nearly beat them, right? Like the last Super Bowl, remember, he had 304 yards rushing, one touchdown passing, and then he ran 15 times for 70 yards and three touchdowns last game. So last game, last touchdown back in 2003,
Hmm.
2023, he had four total TDs, right? So it was he he played well last time. It just happened that they lost, right?
Hmm.
The defense wasn't up to par in that Super Bowl. I think that's probably the biggest difference. We know that they added the difference maker in Barkley, and they've changed a couple pieces on the O line. Kelsey's retired, and on the D line, but I think the biggest difference in this game, this Super Bowl, between the Chiefs and the Eagles is that the Eagles defensive line just completely came to play. Like they dominated the Patrick Mahomes. Like you saw his stats when pressured, it was atrocious, man. Picks, I think they got around 5 sacks on him. Like it was a significant amount of pressure, and that he never. You know what it reminded me of? You remember the Super Bowl he played
The
against
Bucks, yeah.
um
Tampa
against the
Bay.
Bucks?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tampa Bay, yeah.
Tampa Bay. How those guys had him like pressure the whole game, and then he came off flat because it was just so much pressure. I
Hmm.
think that this game was reminiscent of that, and because the Eagles scored fast and they were able to keep the ball away. I think and when he did touch the ball, the D line was so good. I think that's what messed them up. Like there was no way for them to keep it close, for them to kind of work their close magic. You know how they go
Yeah,
pulling
the
in.
close.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think yeah, I think that's what kind of, if it was close, then I think they would have find a way to pull it out. But yeah, the Eagles boat raced them from the get go. So I think that was the main factor. I think it's that D line, man. Like that D line got at him and
Yeah.
made him so uncomfortable. And then Hurts kept making plays on his side and was able to close it out. Um,
Yeah. I would say though, because I'm looking at the last time they played, it was like 38-35. So you're right. Once it's close, then Mahomes had the advantage. But Hurts did play a good game. Like he had 300 yards, like you were saying, compared to Patrick's 182. But for me, I gotta shout out the kicker though, man. The kicker made some plays. I was like, what? A 50-yard kick. I never like everything. I think the kicker added what, like 12 points to the board. So he did his thing. The kicker for the Eagles, you know. I don't know. I don't have his name right now. See how I could pull it up. But I was shocked. Like everything went their way. The first 5 minutes I wasn't sure because there were like some questionable calls, but then it on both sides, like the Chief had a questionable call, the Eagles had a questionable call, but once they got going, once the Eagles defense got going, it wasn't even a game. Like they made, I thought Mahomes was injured during the game because he just didn't look like himself.
Yeah, I would see, but when it was garbage time, he was letting it air out. So I got,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I think the
yeah.
real
I
score is
don't know.
like,
I think the D line, honestly, man, I think that's the biggest. I know Hurts deserves the MVP, and I would have given it to him, but
yeah,
that D line made it so uncomfortable for Mahomes, and I think that's the big difference, right? Like look at
yeah,
the sacks. It's 6-2,
hmm,
right?
yeah,
The interception. Look at the interception rate.
yeah. The intercept,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, like it's
Possessions too. Look at the
and then look at the
possessions.
possession,
Wow,
man. Like
wow.
70 plays to 49. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yes.
saying. They were able to keep them off the field.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Hurts
every
kept
time
made
they
enough
came on the
plays to
field,
keep them
yeah,
off the field, and then when they were on the field, the D line was so dominant that it was never going to be close.
yeah. I know. The thing
Yeah,
is, yeah, because I thought like with Mahomes, you can't really count him out, especially when it was like 24-0. You can't really count him out,
yeah, because
but
Tom Brady came back what 28 down, right? So
yeah.
yeah, I thought it was. You know where I was watching the game? You
Hmm.
know, I messaged you and I was like, it's over now, because the Eagles were 24. It was 24-0, and they were marching to score, right?
Hmm.
And then the Chiefs actually held them to a field goal, so it was 27-0. I
Hmm.
thought that was the time for the Chiefs to make a comeback. But
Hmm.
then the Eagles scored right away after, right? So it's like so then it was 34 and then they scored and then it was 34-6, right? So
Hmm.
it's I think that when they had gotten that stop, that was their time to move. Yeah, it
Hmm.
was their time to move on that.
Yeah, I think I would. The defense did well. I wouldn't mind them getting an MVP, like one of the defensive players. But the thing is with Mahomes, like you saw, he put up 22 points in no time, right? So I think offense is always the best defense for him. Because I think if Jalen Hurts didn't put up the points that they needed, um, to make it like almost impossible for him, I think they would have found a way, you know? If it was like if they went to like 24, if they were in the 20s, I think it would have been if it would have been the Chiefs would have well would have had a chance to at least get back in this game, you know? So sometimes you have a good defensive team like the Ravens, but the offense not there. I'm not talking this Raven, I'm talking back in the day Ravens with Ray Lewis and those guys.
Yeah, I think with everything, you when you have one dominant team, you just need you just need the other side of the ball to just make enough plays, you know? And then you have sometimes you get a game like this where it's just a complete team effort, you know? The defense for the Eagles dominated, the offense dominated. So yeah, I don't think, and remember we were talking, I'm like, on paper the better team is Philly, right? But
Hmm.
the Chiefs always find a way to between the Chiefs and the refs, cough cough. There's always a way that Kansas City is able to find a way to come back to, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that if it was close, Kansas City for sure. But yeah, man, the Eagles came out and pedal to the metal, and yeah, there was no looking back
Yeah,
from that.
I like the way I think I like the way they came out in the first half or I like the first quarter. I think they really set the precedence. Like they came out really ready to attack. Like I knew would have been the better team, but I didn't think they would have attacked the game like they did. Like it wasn't even a game really. But before this game I had Barkley as the MVP for this game. But what do you think about Hurts answering all the questions for this game? And pretty much his career, they had so many doubts about him, whether he could throw, whether he could run. Is he the quarterback for the franchise? But you have to give it up to him. In 4 years, he's brought them to two Super Bowls, you know? I think this
Yeah,
is
I
the
think I think
mhm,
uh he so he got paid after the one Super Bowl. Then in the seasons after, it was there were a lot of uneven performances. Even remember earlier in this year, Brown called him out, right? About called out the passing game, right? So it's not. I don't. I think some of the questions that were surrounding him in terms of being passing the ball and whatnot, I think some of them were 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 valid, and it's not necessarily because of him, but the offense that they were running. It was a obviously with a back like Barkley, you're gonna run the ball a lot, but it's like sometimes you wondered if they trust him, right? Because remember the mid season, what was it, around week 10? There was that big controversy with Brown saying, um, when they asked him what do you need to do better, and he said passing the ball or something like that,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
you
I
remember
know.
that
I remember
almost
that one.
derailed their entire
I
season.
remember. I remember.
So it wasn't some of these questions. It's not only from the media, from like casual fans. It seemed like it was coming from internal, right?
Hmm.
But for them to be able to stay on track and not implode like they did last year, I think
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
big
good point.
kudos to
Good
his
point.
leadership,
Hmm.
his leadership skills, and then also um some of the he wasn't the only one being questioned, right? Like even Nick Sirianni,
Hmm.
there were lots of questions about his leadership, cursing at the fans, you know, being overly excited and doing questionable things as a head football coach, and he answered the call too. I think
Hmm.
both those guys answered a lot of questions in finishing the job and winning a Super Bowl. There's only a handful of players walking around active right now that's ever won a Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and the same
exactly.
with coaches, right? It's only a handful, and those guys are on the list. So,
Yeah, they're answering
I
the
I
call.
I'm happy for them. Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah,
for them.
so I think that leads me into my next question. Well, I ask this, I'll say this before the next question. I think I wish Jason Kelsey was around because I remember last year they had such a good run and then they messed up at the end. So this year I was kind of nervous. Like they were doing good. I think they finished 17-3 this season. And they were doing good, but I was kind of like, well, yes,
I'm
well, 18
14
and
and
3.
3,
Yeah, yeah,
14 and
14
3.
and 3. But oh yeah, they're adding the playoffs wins. But I think I was kind of nervous this season because we've seen this regular season before and they've imploded. So I was like, are they the team? I like the 49ers. I liked the Rams as well. So there were a couple teams in there that I was like, they're just right there, right? Because 49ers went to the Super Bowl before and stuff like that. So it was really one of those teams that would make it. Ravens to Bills. I wasn't really sure about the Bills like that, but I thought the Ravens, the 49ers, Eagles, I was nervous about. But what do you think about the future of the team? Because Jalen Hurts has just been in the league um 2022, so it's been like 4 or 5 years. He's just 26, and then Barkley, I think
No, the
Barkley's
team
27.
the team is the team. I have a friend, and my barber. He's like a big Eagles fan, like Eagles through
Mm,
and through. And I messaged him and I said, "What's scary is like they're very young and they have a
yeah,
lot of
exactly.
good key players on rookie contracts.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think right now the biggest salaries they have is the two receivers and Hurts. Other than that, their salary cap is pretty good. Barkley is the number one paid running back, but that's still it's not in the like in the old days when the running backs used to be making like way more money than that. Like 10 million per year, I think he has is still pretty good. So much of the money is tied up in the offense, but the you see tonight the most of the damage was from the D line, right? And on the defensive side, and a lot of young players like DeJean, he's a rookie, right? There's a
Hmm.
whole bunch like Blankenship. He's a young guy too. So the on the interior line, um, those guys from Georgia, like they're those guys are in their second or third year, so it's a dominant team and they're still young and still cheap, right? So
Hmm.
I think I think they could potentially run the NFC for the next couple of years, but there's the NFC, man, the NFL is really hard, and I think we should take this as a moment
Hmm.
to commend the Chiefs, right? To be able to
Exactly.
make it to three straight Super Bowls, that's crazy. Because like look at the who they've beaten. The Chiefs have beaten consistently over the last like 5 years, right?
Hmm.
They've beaten Lamar, and every year the Ravens look like they could be the best team like ever assembled. Then you
Hmm.
have Josh Allen doing crazy MVP stuff. There's so
Yeah.
many. They're beating Joe Burrow. Well, Burrow got them that one year, but they beat him ever since then, right? They've
Hmm.
beaten who else? So many top guys in the AFC, right? They have that he has to continuously beat, and he does that. Then you have on the NFC side, like if I want to say the Eagles could potentially like run it back a few times in the NFC, but the dogs are coming, right? Like the Commanders, uh Jaden Daniels, he's a rookie and he brought them to the NFC championships, right?
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
team is only going to get better. You have the Lions. I heard that the Lions might get Miles Garrett. So the
Hmm.
league is tough. But
Yeah.
right now the Eagles are sitting good. They're young and they have a Super Bowl, right? Not no
Yeah.
other team can really say that. So yeah, it should be interesting, but I think their future is bright to answer your question.
Yeah, I agree. I would say Nick is probably one of the youngest coaches to win a Super Bowl right now. So
Yeah,
the
he's 43, but you have
yeah, it's
guys
funny. Yeah,
like
here,
what's his name? The guy from the
the
Raiders.
Rams,
He
yeah.
was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
the Rams. Yeah, he's
Sean
the
McKay.
young. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
McKay,
like
McVay.
36. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 36. I have it here. So he's first. The second is Mike Tomlin, 36 as well with 10 months. But Nick is he's 43, 6 months to 44. So he's one of the youngest coaches to win a Super Bowl, which is pretty
Yeah.
good.
But
And he
one of the
was
questions I want to ask you about
mhm.
the Super Bowl is you watch it from start to finish. What do you how do you rank it as a Super Bowl, or what do you rate it from 1 to 10
Mm.
as a game?
Mm.
What would you give it as a rating from 1 to 10 as a game?
Yeah, that's tricky. I'm kind of biased because I wanted the Eagles to win. As a game, I
But
wouldn't give
like
it the
entertainment
best.
value and
I
stuff,
wouldn't
yeah.
give it the best game because they completely dominated, right? So I wouldn't put it in the realm of I wouldn't put it in the realm of like one of the best Super Bowls, even the halftime performance. I wouldn't put it in the realm. I think the best one was Brady versus the Hawks, just that emotional swing. Like everyone was let down that night. Like Atlanta was let down.
Yeah.
That was funny. Like the emotional swing. Everyone felt they had it. And it was like, yeah, that's unpredictable. So I think Mahomes had like a few close ones. I think so emotionally, even when the Seahawks versus Brady again, when they lost at that 1 yard line. When the Seahawks lost at that 1 yard line
Mm-hmm.
with Lynch with
That was
Lynch
just Pete Carroll doing stupidness. But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to unhash old wounds, man. I've
yeah,
been
yeah,
healed
yeah.
from that.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. The Ravens defense Super Bowls with Ray Lewis. Cause I'm a defensive guy, so I do like defensive Super Bowls. I did like the one where my guy, man, that defensive guy. He's with the Bills right now.
Oh, Von Miller.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one was good. Like I
Yeah, for
like
the
seeing
Broncos when he wrecked the game for the
yeah,
Broncos.
yeah,
Yeah.
Broncos. I like when a defensive guy wins the Super Bowl. So I think those would be the best
But
ones.
what are you gonna give this as a rating, though?
Ah, I mean, I like that Jalen one, that young. I like his team. Good.
But
I'll
the
probably
game,
give
just
him.
look at the game. What do you what do you rate the
We got the youngest coach win,
game?
So my Mahomes is a three-peat on the line,
I didn't say rate the Super Bowl, child. I said rate the game.
I'll give it like a six, six
Yeah,
and a
that
half.
high.
Yes, 6.5.
Even though it was never like as to your point, there was never an emotional swing. It was just it was
Yeah,
pretty much again from start to finish.
Yeah, but
boat
there
race.
was
So
there was couple shots like the interceptions, the pick six, the
yeah,
fumbles, the sacks. I was like, what? Yeah,
yeah,
Kelsey
yeah,
not
yeah.
showing up. Yeah, how much would you rate it?
Um, I would give it. I would give it a four.
A four. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair. That's fair. I
because
think
I
a
don't.
five
Yeah,
is yeah,
to your point, a four or a five. Like to your
yeah,
point, there was no from start to finish. There wasn't much drama other than like the defense dominating Patrick Mahomes. Like
yeah.
because there wasn't much question. Like I think if it was any other quarterback, we would have rated it probably even lower, like one, because you knew
Yeah.
it would have been over, like 24-0, you would be like, it's over. But because you give him the benefit of the doubt, and some of the benefit of the doubt is from what he's done and also
Yeah,
what we've
exactly.
seen like Brady do. So we were
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, it's 24-0. The game is pretty whack because one team is dominating, but because he has the greatness of like Brady and himself, you think,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe he could make this a game. So like as a fan, you're holding on thinking maybe it can turn around and become a game just because of the greatness on that side between him and Kelsey and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if you took away that and let's say it was like no offense, but let's say it was Dak Prescott on the other side, you'd be like it's over, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. No, no, no,
I
no, no.
shaded the Cowboys. I had to
I
take a
lost
chance to
faith.
shade
I
the
lost faith.
Cowboys, but
No, no, I
but yeah,
lost faith.
like if it was another quarterback that wasn't any other quarterback, no disrespect to that, any other quarterback other than
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes,
I'm
you would
Brady
have been like
probably.
it's a wrap.
Mahomes and
But
Brady.
because it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
him, we're like yeah, maybe he's gonna turn, maybe, and that's when I honestly thought when they held him up to 3 points when it was 24, 27
Mm-hmm.
0. I thought that hey, like it might be now comeback season, but yeah, it just never turned around. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll give it a
mm,
four. Yeah,
yeah, I would have to admit I was nervous too at 24-0 just because Mahomes and his legacy. But the silver lining for me was that um Barkley didn't start going. Saquon wasn't really his run game wasn't there. And then the third I saw him doing his thing. I was like, okay, this is going. So that was if it was the opposite where it was 24-0 and Saquon was going. Then I was like, oh, I'll be nervous because they know I think they would have the power to shut him down, which they did shut him down for most of the game, right?
the whole
Uh,
game.
yeah,
He had
these are
20.
not,
He had
yeah,
25 carries for 59 yards. They shut him down.
yeah, basically, yeah, yeah, yeah. They
I know
shut
you
it,
like the guy, but and obviously he's the best back in the league by far,
yeah,
and we give him respect, much love for what he's done. But the Chiefs came out and I think as we said, they said he's not beating us today, and they lock him down.
yeah. They
So
miscalculated. I think my
yeah,
question for you though, do you think? Because I know Brady won like three in his first, I would say first maybe 5 to 6 years, and then he had a 10-year drought. So you think the Chiefs have a 10-year drought coming, or maybe a 5-year drought? Just the nature of the game. What do you think?
I don't I was gonna I was funny, Ko. I was thinking that to ask you the same question to what you think it means for the Chiefs. Um, I don't I think he can make it back within the next 5 years, but but I don't like the in the AFC, like we just name how many names that he continuously beats. Like the dogs are hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and I think and now they look at them. It's one thing when the dogs are hungry and they know that you're the big lion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've never lost a fight or you rarely lose a fight, and they're hungry and they're afraid to really fight you the way that you should, because they're like, yo, this guy never loses, right? This lion
Mm-hmm.
never loses. But now they just saw what the Eagles done. I think it gives even the other teams in the AFC confidence, like to get out of their own minds too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think in the next few years, I expect the Bills and the Ravens to break through. But I've been hurt enough by the Ravens, so maybe not anymore.
Yeah, I
Maybe I
think
won't. And I
I
think
hmm
even the Texans, right? Like the
hmm
Texans, they played terrible in the regular season, and it's only because they're in a bad division why they're able to make it up, make it to the playoffs. But they won a game, and remember their number two receiver was out, number three receiver was out. So the AFC is tough, man. And again, they see the blood in the water now. Like they see that the big line is weak. They just got like slapped down in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I think they'll make it back in the next 5 years. I don't think it'll be a 10-year drought, but I don't
hmm
think I don't think it's locked up as it's been for the last like 4 5 years really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 years. I was about to say that too. I think it's been like a 5 year run for the Chiefs. I think fatigue will kick in next year. You could see signs of it even in this game, but I think they manage well. I think the Rams are
And
coming.
not blame, sorry, I'm not blaming no fatigue, man. It's 3P. You made it to the Super Bowl. You didn't play a game for 2 weeks. Get out of here. And the Chiefs, apologies. I'm sure Nick Wright's gonna come on TV tomorrow and be like, this team is dominated for 5 years, and eventually, the fatigue of playing so many games over the course of the last. What are you talking about? You haven't played a football game in 2 weeks. Before
hmm
that, you didn't play a meaningful game in you played you because they locked up the number one seed, so they had like pretty much 2 weeks off, right?
hmm
Remember the
Yeah.
week 18 and wild card weekend. Then they played. So in the last what? So between week 18, so between week 17 and week 18 and wild card, that's 2 weeks, right? Then there was 2 weeks of games that they played, and then they had 2 weeks off. So in the last 6 weeks, and then yeah, then they had 2 weeks off. So in the last 6 weeks, um they played what, 3 games in the last 6 weeks. So I don't think fatigue, you can call it fatigue. It's just they bet a better team today, and then the better team slapped them down. I mean, like it is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I guess.
Like
I guess. Yeah,
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 I
you're right.
mean, yeah, I think that's what the Chiefs apologists are gonna come with tomorrow though on TV. Nick Wright will
hmm
say, eventually, the fatigue and blah blah blah. No, man, like you're supposed to you literally played 3 games in the last 6 weeks, and
hmm
it was 2 weeks since you last played before today. So nah, I'm not buying that as an excuse. The better team won. And they bullied the crap out of them the entire 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The funniest thing, yeah, so I
or
think
48 minutes.
I can see a 5 year drought just because the quality of quarterbacks there. And I think this win by the Eagles have shown, and looking at the Bucks win too, it shows how to beat them. Like defensively, what do you have to do to beat them, right? Because
Hmm.
it shows they're not really comfortable with that type of defensive scheme. But obviously you need the players to do it, the
Yeah,
personnel to do it, right?
I think it's the players, man. Like the Eagles, similar to the Bucks, they were able to get at the quarterback, and had like decent enough secondary play, and I think that's what makes the difference. So um yeah, I think it wasn't the greatest Super Bowl,
hmm
but we got a new champ. Congratulations to the Eagles. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
hmm
I think it's yeah. The funny enough, it'll be interesting, right? Because like to your point, now but everybody knew, like it's the same game tape as the one with the Bucks, right? Like
hmm
so people had it 3 years. People had that same game tape from when he last lost what, 4 Super Bowls ago,
hmm
right? Um, it's the same game tape. They got at him and they lost. So why they didn't do it the last 3 years if it was that easy? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's the players and the scheme and whatnot, and then a lot of times greatness still overcomes that, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
But I think there might be a 5 year drought because I've never seen this quality of quarterbacks in the league. Like I'd say in terms of Daniels is here. We'll see if
yeah,
he
but
has
he's
like a
been he's been
sophomore slump
cutting he's
next
been
year.
cutting through them, right? So it's
Yeah,
like I can't write him off
yeah.
a thing there. I just think that I think
But
what happens is in my years of watching the NFL, I think one of the things is when a team always wins close games,
mm-hmm,
it's two things. Like especially, it's one thing to always do it in the playoffs and make it out because in the playoffs, even if you have a first round bye, if you don't have a first round bye, the maximum amount of games you have to play is four, right? The
mm-hmm,
wild card, division, championship, and then Super Bowl if you make it, right?
mm-hmm,
So the most you have to play is four games. So if you play, let's say, a close game, two or three out of those four games, that's okay because it's four games. You know the playoff, the competition is stiff, right?
mm-hmm,
But I always think that when in my years of watching, when a team in the regular season is always have to be like scraping for victories.
mm-hmm,
Like the Chiefs did last this year.
mm-hmm.
Like every game is you remember this year, like throughout the season, every game
Yeah.
is close and it's some random stuff like blocking a kick or like
Mm-hmm,
like some random stuff that they're making. I always think that that's not a good recipe to bring to the playoffs and to win a Super Bowl completely. Because it
mm-hmm,
means that you're part of it is luck breaking your way, and it's not necessarily that you're dominating the competitions like head and above. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Because like I don't know, you remember the Vikings last year?
mm-hmm,
Was it last year or the year before? Like every game, these guys they won like must like I think like 12 one score games. Like it was crazy. And then
mm-hmm.
when they got to the playoffs, I think it was like one or two games and they were done.
Yeah, they were
You know what
done.
I'm saying? So I think it's challenging when a team lives by just be winning close games for 5 months. I feel like eventually by the time you get to the playoffs, yeah, it's good for you in that you always believe, but eventually it might also means that you just don't have the talent to go in and beat a team like from start to finish handedly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
get what you're saying.
I
I
think
get.
that was one of my challenging things with the Chiefs. Why I didn't fully believe in them, to be honest.
Yeah. So my final two questions for you, and I'll leave it you to ask one as well. Um, After quarterbacks, no. If you had to choose, 'cause one won't win a Super Bowl. Mahomes, well, Mahomes already won, so he's out of the conversation. It would be Burrow, Allen, Lamar. Mm,
You said who won't win?
yeah, who won't win? Goff,
Um,
Jared Goff.
Let me just say
Um,
who will win.
all right, who will win?
Yeah, I think I expect uh Allen to get one.
Okay.
I
Oh.
expect my heart wants Lamar to get one, but my heart is tired of being disappointed, so I don't know what to say. But my heart wants him to get one.
Yeah.
Um, I think another some of the guys they're young, right? So like CJ Stroud, he's only been in the league 2 years. So
Yeah.
let's say he has another 14 years to go, right? I think
Hmm.
eventually he could get one. Um, Jaden Daniels, if his career follows this trajectory, I think he should get one. Um, Burrow, I just don't. The thing with Burrow is he's so good, but I don't trust the rest of the organization, and I think that's my
Mm,
child,
yeah.
like I don't trust the ownership to spend the money to get him a good defense, and
Hmm.
so that's why like he has the talent to go win five, but the
Hmm.
the the rest of the team, man, I just don't trust. So I think those guys should get one. And just thinking off the top of my head, I didn't go through the list, so no disrespect to anybody, but
Hmm.
um, I think it's challenging, right?
Hmm.
Especially used to be like the AFC was the gauntlet and the NFC is a bit easier, but you see the dogs in the NFC now and they're coming, man. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it
They're
should be
coming.
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the quarterback play is getting really good. I think it will only get good. I've never seen so much quality quarterbacks in the league so far. I guess my final question now, see, do you think Travis Kelce should retire after this game? He didn't have the best season this year. A lot of
I
controversies
I
this
I I
season.
think that's a question for him. I think the main thing is whether or not he still cares and still has the passion for the game, you know.
Hmm.
And it seems like a lot of other interests is taking. So I don't know, but if he still has the passion, then he should keep playing, right? Because even if a tight end gets 500-600 yards for the season, that's good, right? So he's
Hmm.
not going to if he doesn't if he's even 60% or 70% of his normal output, he's still one of the top tight ends in the league, top 10, right?
Good
So it's
point. Good
just
point.
whether or not he wants to grind it out, right? And I think his brother got to the point where he didn't want to grind it out anymore. And
Yeah,
so
he
he has to look at it and say whether or not he wants to grind it out.
cost himself
Um,
a Super
I
Bowl
think if
this
he
time.
because let's say if he still wants to play and he instead of his normal like let's say 60 70 80 yards a game, sometimes your
Hmm.
occasional 120 150, but he consistently gets like 40 50 yards a game, again that's still really good. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So for a tight end, right? I think we get spoiled in thinking about like how how
Yeah,
how
you're right.
like how like tight ends are, right? So
Yeah.
um yeah, I think that's what I would say
Yeah,
about
I'm
it.
looking at his
What do you
numbers.
think?
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers right now. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. This season he did
The man is the
820.
best tight end to ever play the game. It's not even about definitely. He's like, you know, there's no analysis needed for this guy's what are you gonna analyze? That's like
I
trying to
mean,
analyze um Tom Brady. Like you're like, the man is
is
the best at what he does. I think everybody would attribute that. But again,
yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean, I
does he
kind of
still want to do it? You know, and I think that's a question for him.
I think best tight ends debatable. We had some couple good ones. Grok was up there. But yeah, I mean,
Nah, he's better than all of them.
okay.
Yeah,
But this
best
this
receiving tight end at
yeah,
least.
best
You
receiver.
could say that Gronk is the best overall tight end ever
Mm,
in terms of his blocking, but
yeah.
best receiving tight end, I you have to give it to him.
What I like about Gronk, he made it look so effortless though. He's just like this cool, chill, goofy guy that just
Yeah,
shows
but
up
on
and
the
get
his raw Roy, he didn't look pretty, but he you gotta wait to get open. So yeah, but I think yeah, again it's up to this guy what he wants to do. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
this
And
season
again,
wasn't bad
if
though.
he retires, let's say he retires, like again, that's another big blow, right? Where it might take another few years for them to get a tight end that's a capable tight end, right?
Mm, hmm.
And pass catcher. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this season he did
I have a I have a I have
820.
a crazy question for you.
Mm.
All right. Because it's Super Bowl week, we're playoff ready. So to get ready for next year playoff. Um, so who's your Super Bowl next year?
Oh,
Crazy long shot. Just guess. Just say it. We'll
my,
do
my,
other
su-
predictions throughout the year, but
oh my,
you're
who's gonna win
immediately
the
after
Super Bowl
Super
next
Bowl.
year?
What's your prediction for this year? For
Who's
next
gonna win
year?
next year?
Who's gonna be in the game? You don't have to predict a winner, but who do you
Oh
have in
no,
the game
I'm
next year?
definitely saying Lamar is gonna win next year. Ravens.
And
R-
who are they playing?
Ah, that's tough. I'm thinking I have a soft spot for the 49ers. I kind of like them. Um, I would say it's either, ah, would the Eagles make it back? Yeah, that's tough. I think it's either the Eagles, the 49ers, or the Texans.
You're
You c-
wrong, man. You have to do your research. Remember, the Texans
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
are in
After
the
I said it,
AFC.
I realized I was like, no, no, different division. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's see what the Cowboys do, but I
Bro, the
don't think.
49ers are whack. Those guys are done, man.
No,
Say
no,
what they
they had like two,
Nah,
three good
man. The
years. Yeah,
49ers are done. Trust me, they're
nah,
done.
mm-mm.
No, they're done. So I would say, you know me, I always give two answers,
Yeah,
logical and heart.
yeah.
Logical in the AFC, I will, I'll go with, I'll go with the, I'll go with the Bills. And then,
Bills.
but my heart pick will be Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the NFC, my heart will say my heart will say the Commanders because I
Mm,
think it would be cool to see them up there. But
yeah.
then logical, I think the Lions are gonna get through.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I was
think the
thinking about
Lions
the
are gonna get
Lions
through.
too. I think that
Yeah, I
yeah, the
think the
Lions are
Lions
good.
are gonna get through. So I think it could be a Bills Lions Super Bowl, and then if my heart wins, it's like it's a Ravens maybe like Commanders. But I don't think because it would be
Mm,
crazy if it's a Ravens Commanders. It's
hmm
two teams that pretty much are like like an hour of each other playing in the Super Bowl against each other. But you know, like Baltimore
hmm
and like Maryland and Baltimore and DC, they're like suburbs of each other, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like Toronto to like Hamilton kind of. So that would be interesting. But yeah, I think uh I don't want to say Lamar and keep getting hurt. So
No,
yeah,
I think
I'm
yeah,
gonna say Bills and Lions.
I think the stat for me with Lamar is that Peyton Manning took 7 years to win his first one. So I think he might follow that trajectory. The Bills, I'm nervous because they went to four Super Bowls straight and lost all four of them.
Yeah,
So I
but
just
that
think
doesn't
they're
have
jig.
anything to do with Josh Allen though. So
But I don't really see Josh as that guy though. I don't know. Plus they need to
no,
work on the
I
team.
think I think he uh they play well, you know, but I don't I think yeah, I'm more shaky on the AFC side to be honest. I feel like so many teams could make it. I'm just like again, it's irrational. We'll make other picks as we go through the year.
Hmm
Um, but I'll just say them right now because they played Kansas City the closest, and Kansas City just got slapped down. So I'll just say them for now. But
hmm
I could easily see if my Texans could get it together.
Yeah,
My I think that they could do it too. So there's a whole bunch of options that could go.
yeah, I
But I
can't
do
believe
think
I'm sorry.
eventually though in the NFC, my most solid one is probably the Lions. Like I think the Lions are gonna make it because I
Yeah,
think if they didn't have the injuries this year, I think they would have made it. I think they would have beaten the Eagles, but injuries, you know.
yeah, this is so surprising because the Lions, um,
The
the Lions
defense, man,
yeah,
the same thing. But then
yeah, it's
here's
one of
the
my
flip
favorite
side. Here's
teams
the
too. I
flip
can't
side
believe
on the
I
pick
forgot them.
on my
Yeah,
pick for the Lions, right?
uh
Where I shouldn't say it's not a surefire. They lost both coordinators. So the
Oh yeah,
defensive
yeah, yeah,
coordinator is a head coach and the offensive coordinator is a head coach now. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to recover and pick up the pieces after that. So yeah, I think next year should be interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the thing. I think those key losses might affect
Yeah.
them really. I can't really
So
see it. Um,
So yeah, and again, I would so I'm taking back the Lions. I'm gonna say Eagles. So I'm gonna put that name.
Eagles back again. Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
mean they're young enough to do it.
just
I don't.
because the Lions, the coaches, man. You know, I think of all the major sports, like NFL is like coaching makes the biggest difference. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm,
yeah. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, signing off time.
mhm. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you
fun
guys.
times. Good game. Hopefully next year we'll have a better Super Bowl and
Yeah, we have to look at this NFL draft. This one's gonna be interesting. See
yeah,
where
yeah,
Hunter
yeah.
goes and also Shador. Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
You'll do a thing near draft one.
All right. Yeah, yeah, man.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming through. All right, guys. Feel free to drop your feedback and subscribe, and then we'll keep you posted on the next video. All right.
Stay,
All right. Night,
stay
night.
ready.
Yeah, stay ready, man. All right, night.